Just a minute for a second. Ms. Vider doesn't have copies of the documents. So I guess, if and when she wants to look at them, I can put them up. But what exhibit did you say you want to look at now?
Response Exhibit 5, which begins, I'm sorry, Response Exhibit 4. Response Exhibit 4.
Respondents Exhibit 4.
Yes.
Which we already looked at. And I can put it up on the screen just for a moment. So you know what document we're looking at, Ms. Vider?
Yes.
So when I say Exhibit 4, it's that coaching and counseling form where it says, that you're being terminated for a particular reason.
Yeah, I understand.
So, okay, so I don't need to put it on the screen right now.
No.
Okay. All right, so we're looking at Respondents Exhibit 4, which we've already, which is actually already received into evidence. I believe, yes. Okay.
Okay. Ms. Bobble, do you have in front of you Respondents Exhibit 4?
I do.
Okay. What is Exhibit 4?
This appears to be a copy of one of our coaching and counseling forms in terms of employment action for associates. This one's issued to Ms. Vider.
Before I ask about the specifics of this form, I'd like to ask some general questions. First, what does Marcus typically use these forms for?
Disciplinary action.
For theater associates?
Correct.
How are they created?
This would be created a combination of myself and the general manager, so working together on the form. Sometimes I would create the form and get it to them. Sometimes I would be on the phone with them while they were creating it.
Okay. Let's talk about this particular form. What was the purpose of this particular coaching and counseling action form, Response Exhibit 4?
This particular form communicates two things. So one, it was the suspension pending the investigation, as well as the results, which was termination of employment.
So the form did double duty?
Correct.
Can you, on this form, identify what was relevant to a suspension and what was relevant to discharge?
Yes. So in that section where it talks about the termination of employment, that references the document from the Department of Health Services that I investigated, and that Emily had stated that she did not create. And then it communicates we are terminating employment.
So you conducted the investigation in this case?
I did.
Why? What led you to start an investigation?
We received a request from Wisconsin Department of Health Services to review a letter for its validity.
Okay, let's talk about that. I'd like to turn to Respondents Exhibit 5, which begins on page ERD 150. This exhibit is already in evidence. It's a 3-page exhibit. The first page we've not had much discussion about. It's a facsimile cover page to the Bistroplex from the Wisconsin Department of Health Services. Have you seen this before?
I have.
The date sent on page 1 of the exhibit is December 4, 2018. Is that about that?
Yes, on or about that date.
So what were the circumstances? How did you come to first see it?
A manager from the Bistroplex location, actually Adam Levette, so the general manager, had contacted me and said they received this.
Did he also provide a copy of it to you?
He did.
So When you reviewed this, what was your understanding of why the department sent this to Marcus?
The department was looking to verify that the letter of employment status was accurate, meaning did our manager actually write it, and did this employee actually leave as according to the letter?
Now, at the time you first saw Respondents Exhibit 5, were all 3 pages of the exhibit included?
Yes.
So you said the department was writing to verify a letter of employment status. Are you referring to page 2 of Exhibit 5?
I am.
That's ERD, page number 151. So you received this 3-page letter from Mr. Levitzow. What did you do?
Well, the first thing I did is looked up the employee references in our human resource information system.
That employee is Kelly Vider, right?
Correct.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so that was the first thing that I did, and saw that she was actually still employed with us, and there were no breaks in service, so she had never left.
See, because the letter states that her employment ended on March 22, 2018. You're saying the record you reviewed showed that that was not the case?
Correct.
Now, I want to talk about this employee management system. How does that work?
This is the system of record. So when we hire someone, their name, dates of employment, positions, locations, how they get paid, every piece of information about an associate is held in that system, including if someone terminates, if they go out on leave of absence, if they transfer to a location, if they're promoted. So everything about an employee's life cycle is in there.
These are digital records?
They are.
And Marcus creates these and maintains these for every associate?
We do.
It does so as part of its normal business operations?
Yes.
Okay. So did these records show any change in Ms. Vider's employment on or about March 22 of 2018?
No, they did not.
Now, this letter appears to be from Emily Peterson, correct?
Correct.
Well, let me back up. After you reviewed the employment record, you determined there was no break in Ms. Vider's employment. What did you do next?
I then spoke with Adam to confirm and make sure that, you know, there was no error there and that she had not left, and he confirmed that. And then I also reached out to Ms. Peterson, who had since transferred to our De Pere, Missouri location. De
Pere, Missouri?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. I misspoke and thought it was De Pere, Wisconsin. I didn't know there were 2 De Peres.
Is it De Pere or it's another word? A pear, does it look like? It looked like
yeah,
a different
De Pere.
word. So it's De Pere.
Yeah, it's DES space. Yep, PERE.
Okay, like the fathers, I guess would be
Yeah.
right. So she just so let me just get this in my records. You looked up Ms. Peterson's Emily Peterson's record, and it showed that you're saying, and then I suppose I assume we'll be looking at a document, but she transferred to De Pere in what state?
In Missouri.
In Missouri. And she, as far as you could tell, and we'll be looking at records, I know, but that she still was an employee, but worked for a different theater in a different state.
Correct. And I
Okay.
misspoke. She didn't just transfer. She was actually promoted to a general manager.
Oh,
well, and
okay.
Let's look
Okay,
at the
go
record that fixes that date. Can you please turn to Respondents Exhibit 6?
Okay.
Page ERD 154.
Oh yeah, I don't have to turn. I was thinking I had to turn it on, put it on. Oh, well, actually I should put it on the screen because we haven't looked at that yet, so that Ms. Vider can look at it. I can turn it off soon after, just so we can identify the document. after we identify. Just a minute here. Okay, so what am I doing? I am going to share the screen, and just a minute. And we want to go to respondent 6, which, as you said, it starts at page 153, but we want to go down. And it's titled Personnel Record Showing When Emily Peterson Became the Operations Manager at Marcus's Bistro Plex. Okay, so I'm on page 154. Is that where you want to be? Is that
That's
what you're looking
exactly
at?
where I want to be. Yep.
Okay. All right.
Ms. Bobble, can you tell me what Exhibit 6 is?
This is a printout of a screen from the employment record of Emily Peterson in our HR management system.
This is still the digital human capital management system we were discussing a minute ago.
Correct.
You're now muted, Ms. Bob. Oh, or something must have covered the microphone.
Oh, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay.
So this is a record from the same system we were talking about a few minutes ago.
Correct.
What did you review this record as part of your investigation?
I did.
What does this record show?
This particular record shows that Ms. Peterson had been a theater operations manager at the Bistroplex, and that she had transferred into it, and the effective date of that transfer.
So this shows when she started becoming the operations manager at the Bistroplex, correct?
Correct.
And what date was that?
May 12th of 2017.
So she would have been in that role at the time Ms. Vider was hired.
Correct.
We offer Respondents Exhibit 6.
All right. Ms. Vider, any objection?
No.
All right. Respondent 6 is received. So, but just to clarify on this document, it shows that she transferred, where it shows that she transferred to that DePere location.
This particular screen actually shows when she transferred to the Bistroplex location. She had previously been an employee at a different location. Yep.
Oh, so there's a separate document I assume we're going to look at that shows that she went to this other location. Is that correct?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I was thinking it was all on this one sheet, but it isn't. Okay, so Respondents Exhibit 6 is received into evidence. So I'm going to close this out now, the sharing.
No.
Oh, because you want to look at another one.
Yes, I do.
Okay, just one second. Sorry, I went too fast. Okay. Now you want to go to what, 7, I would guess?
Yes.
All right. So now we're looking at Respondents Exhibit 7, which is titled Personnel Record Showing When Emily Peterson Became the General Manager at Marcus's DePere Theater. Okay.
And I'd like you to look, Ms. Bobble, at the page that's labeled ERD 156, the next page. This again appears to be a printout from the human capital management system we've been discussing, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Did you review this as part of your investigation into the Department of Health Services request?
I did.
And what information does this particular exhibit show?
This shows when Ms. Peterson was promoted and moved to the general manager position at our DePere, Missouri location.
And when did she receive that promotion?
It was effective May 18th of 2018.
In addition to reviewing Ms. Vider's and Ms. Peterson, oh, I'm sorry, we offer response exhibit 7.
All right, any objection? Ms. Vider, no objection.
No, Josh, I'm sorry.
Okay. Respondents exhibit 7 is received into evidence. Okay.
And Ms. Bobble, other than reviewing Ms. Vider's online personnel record, Ms. Peterson's online personnel record, did you do anything else to investigate the Department of Health Services request for information?
I did. I contacted Ms. Peterson.
How?
Via email.
Okay. Let's look at that.
And
Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, and I had asked her if she had provided any letters of reference.
Okay. Let's then turn to Respondents Exhibit 8.
Okay. Just one
Page
second.
ERD 158.
Okay. Okay, so it starts on page 157, but the first page of the actual document is 158, as you said, and here we are on the screen.
Yep, that's it. That's perfect. That's all we need to see.
Okay.
Ms. Babel, take a minute to review the exhibit.
Okay.
Is Respondents Exhibit 8 a copy of the email that you sent Ms. Peterson?
It is.
Did you, I think you mentioned it, but I want to make sure I'm correct. Did you send her a copy of the letter purportedly from her that we reviewed as part of Respondents Exhibit 5?
I did.
Okay. We offer Respondents Exhibit 8.
Yeah, any objection, Ms. Vider?
No, this is the first time I saw that.
Well, it was provided to you in advance of this hearing. They submitted the whole set of documents in advance. But in any event, you don't have any objection, right?
No.
So Respondents 8 is received. But I just wanted to, let me just look at this. Oh, okay. So the Ms. Peterson's response to your email is in a separate document. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. I was going to ask if that was here somewhere. Okay, never mind then. So Respondents 8 is received. And do you want to look at Respondents 9 now then?
Sure. While
So
we're pulling that up, Ms. Bobble, did Ms. Peterson respond to your email?
Yes, she did.
Via email, via phone call, some other way?
Via email.
Okay. So now let's look at Respondents Exhibit 9, focusing on page ERD 160.
Okay. Here we go. Does this show?
Take a second to
enough?
review it, Ms. Bobble. That shows enough. Yep, that's good.
Okay.
Okay. What is Respondents Exhibit 9?
This is Ms. Peterson's response to my inquiry if she had written the letter of reference.
And it looks like, according to Response Exhibit 9, both your email to Ms. Peterson and her response to you both were dated December 11, 2018. Is that correct?
Correct.
What was Ms. Peterson's response to you?
She said she did not write any letters, and she confirmed what our standard procedure is when receiving requests such as this. We have a company that we work with called the work number, that she would send them to that number.
Is that something in your HR roles that theater managers are trained to do?
Yes.
Why? Why do you use that process?
First of all, it simplifies it for the managers. Second, it prevents the managers from sharing more information than they really should with a reference.
Okay. So up to this point, you received a request from the Department of Health Services. You reviewed Ms. Vider's online employment record. You reviewed Ms. Peterson's online employment record, and you exchanged emails with Ms. Peterson regarding whether she was the author of page 2 of Exhibit 5. Did you do anything else?
I did not know.
Okay,
Are you going to offer respondents 9 into evidence?
thank you. Yes, please.
Okay, any objection?
This is,
Ms. Vider?
I have a question. This is the first time I ever saw these letters. When we got dismissed, we never got none of these response, back.
Well, you
This is the
can
first-
testify to that. This isn't your testimony right now, and on rebuttal if you want to testify, but that's not the question right now. If do you have any objection to this from the standpoint of evidence, the rules of evidence, which
Mhm.
I don't.
No.
And I will just again note for the record, you may not have been provided this at the time you were terminated. However, all of these documents we've been talking about, all of the respondents' exhibits were submitted in advance by the respondent as part of their pre-hearing document submission, and copies were sent to you, and we talked about them at the pre-hearing, and on and on. So you did get copies prior to the hearing. You may not have gotten them at the time of your termination, though. That's a different story. In any event, okay, so respondents 9 is received into evidence. Okay, Mr. Murray, what else were you going to ask?
Yep. So I understand, Ms. Bobble, you've looked at the records of Ms. Vider, you looked at the records of Ms. Peterson, you had the email exchange with Ms. Peterson in which she said she did not author page 2 of Respondents Exhibit 5. So what happened next?
I contacted Mr. Lovetso, the general manager at Bistroplex, to inform him that the letters were not valid and that there was a falsification of a record.
Now, you just said letters plurals. So you're referring also to the letter of Ms. Vider's sister, I take it? I think there's a reference to that here.
Correct.
Holly Koch?
Correct.
Okay.
And at that point, did anyone make a recommendation about ending Ms. Vider's employment?
Yes, I recommended to Mr. Lovetso that her employment be terminated based on the falsification of records as well as the dishonesty.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay. I just want to ask a couple of questions to clarify, and then Ms. Vider, if you have any questions. I'm going to keep the documents on the screen because I want to ask about respondents 5. Just to clarify. Oh no, that's not the one. Let's see. Oh, respondents exhibit 4. The page 148 of that document. I'm just if you could clarify a little bit about this respondents exhibit 4, because it appears to be documenting a suspension and also a termination. So could you explain that?
Sure. So the document was originally created when the suspension occurred. So that where it says discipline type termination of employment, that was not in the document yet. So it was just this section regarding what had happened and that there was a suspension, that an investigation occurred. And then when the termination happened, the language was added regarding the termination.
So whose handwriting is that, if you know?
I cannot be certain, but I believe it to be Mr. Lovetso's.
Adam.
Correct.
Adam Lovetso, okay, the general manager. Okay.
Correct.
All right. Did you see this? Did you personally see this document at the time of termination?
I do not recall exactly. It would be standard for me to ask to see it.
But you don't specifically recall.
Correct.
You did, though, for sure, it sounds like from your a minute ago, that you recommended to Adam that he terminate Ms. Vider. Is that correct?
That is correct.
For the 2 reasons you gave. But you may have seen the final document you're saying, but do you remember seeing it when it was just regarding the suspension?
Again, I don't recall. It would have been for the suspension. It would not have been standard for him to show it to me unless that was the final action.
Okay, so you probably, your best recollection is that you didn't see this document at the earlier stage when it presumably you're speculating that it just said suspension pending investigation.
Correct.
And you don't know, it also, there's handwriting there that says it was not them. They want to review it. Again, that your speculation is that also was written by Adam Lovetso?
It is, because it's consistent with what he told me on the phone after he met with them.
What did he tell you after Adam met with Ms. Vider, and I guess also with her sister? Is that you understood that he met with both sisters?
Correct.
He called you?
He did.
And what did he say?
He informed me that he had had the termination discussion. He informed me that they stated they did not write the letter, and that they wanted to maybe talk to me. So he did provide them with my phone number.
Did you ever get a call from them, from either Ms. Vider or her sister?
I did, from Ms. Vider.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
When was that in relation to this? This next day, same day, a week later, whatever?
Honestly, I don't recall exactly. I believe it was close. From my recollection, it was close to directly after the conversation happened. If it was that same day or the next day, I'm not 100% certain.
Okay. And what did she tell you? Or what was the conversation, to the best of your recollection?
To the best of my recollection, she went into a story about her history, and was telling me a lot of personal information, and then stated that she would not have submitted the letter. When I asked her about how would anybody have known she was applying for the food stamps, she did not answer that question. She kept rerouting it to her personal medical issues, and the conversation from her perspective to me seemed to be that she just kept talking about the medical issues.
Okay, I'm just getting this in my notes. At the time you had this conversation, you had already told Adam Lovetso that you were recommending that Ms. Vider be terminated.
Correct. It would have been after that.
So the decision had already been made, as far as you know. I mean, she was calling you because you understood she had already been told she was terminated.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Getting back to Exhibit 4 on the screen, you don't really know. I mean, you understood that looking at this, that this was your belief is this was the document that was given to Ms. Vider to to document her termination, correct?
Correct.
You don't know, I mean, I don't know that it matters, but I just wanted to clarify, you don't really know for sure. You didn't necessarily see this document before, as far as what it looked like before the termination meeting.
I know that I saw it. I honestly do not remember if I saw it right before the meeting or right after.
But if it was after the termination meeting, then presumably everything was in this document already.
Correct.
I'm just asking, you don't recall seeing it when it just said suspension pending investigation or whatever it did say?
Right. I did not see it when it was just the suspension pending investigation.
Okay, all right. And you saw, I think I might have to go back to the document here. Let's see, exhibit 3, the associate handbook. So I don't think this was shown to you, but it was just shown to Ms. Vider. But did in your mind, after you learned what had happened or what you understood had happened with regard to that letter about the food stamps and all that, did you gave 2 reasons for termination? How did those relate to this, what's stated in this exhibit, in this employee handbook?
Certainly. So the handbook states what our policies are. Those 2 specific reasons would have been a violation of our policies.
And I think we looked at the policies earlier. Maybe Mr. Where are you?